Hello, my name is Russell Campbell. I want to talk to you guys today about human nature. This topic that I'm about to bring up basically shows my theory that the modern day world and the past world alike was driven by fear. Religions that you know, from the societies that's been created, from the civilizations that we understand today, and everything that we misconstrued in the history, or we told the truth about, it held within a balance of truth and false, existence and non-existence, the balance of all things. Being that said, we go by perception. God is a person that creates an answer, and the devil is the one that doesn't. The one that we perceive as our adversary, the thing that we don't want, what have you. It shows the same. In every religion, you'll find some dark entity or some dark form of what can be explained of an emotion or someone being at the time, and that's what you perceive them to be. Perception drives the human beings to do whatever they seek to. If they feel is right, they'll do it. I mean, anything that you naturally feel be right, or someone convince you that something is right, it could be the most heinous thing known to man. It could be the most heinous thing known to man. Sometimes that's dealt off of peer pressure. Sometimes that's dealt off of your pure analysis. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's dangerous about human beings. So, what we do in order to keep that control over one of each other's, or over each other, is we basically we section each other off. We section each other off like races by chance, right? We'll put someone in a category. Let's section people off. Let's say black, all right? Black race. You say, okay, the black race has this feature, dark skin complexion. They go by this culture. They go by these ideas, and they go by a strict rule of ethics. You know what I'm saying? It comes to the point where the things that you devote yourself to, the things that you enforce in your ethnic group, fortunately, that's the thing that you fear the most, because you don't want to appear or what you're not. Like, let's say, okay, young folks call themselves being a real nigga. Like, okay, this is the concept of being a real nigga. A real nigga don't snitch. A real nigga got his money. A real nigga got hoes, cars, clothes, what have you. You know what I'm saying? And a pussy nigga, he broke. He you know what I'm saying? He be hating. He say this. He say that. He a downer. You know what I'm saying? He talk slick. This, that, and the third. That's the perception that you don't want to be. You know what I'm saying? The perception of a real nigga, they enforce it. Okay, this is how you supposed to do this. This is how you supposed to do that. This is how you supposed to be like this. This is how you go out your everyday life living. You know what I'm saying? And we enforce that in the black communities. We enforce that around the country, that this is how you're supposed to live as a black person. Meanwhile, you know what I'm saying, if you're white, You know what I'm saying? You don't go about those ethics. 9 times out of 10, you're going to sit here and be like, okay, I want a college degree. I want to do this, that, and the third. And your parents going to be looking forward to it. You know what I'm saying? You got things in mind of having a career in, and you know what I'm saying, traveling the world and seeing shit. You know, Latinos, same thing. You know, I mean the same thing. Arab, same thing. What the biggest problem with human nature is we live for ideas we think are correct. So an idea is a perception. Is what you see towards a person, is what you think a person is what you catch an idea to be, what you catch that person to be is purely off perception. You'd be like, okay, black people eat chicken and drink Kool-Aid. You know what I'm saying? That's the perception, because you'll find a majority does it, but really it's just an idea that we deem correct. We say, okay, I'd rather have this. It's a choice. It's a choice of living. It's a choice of being. But sometimes when people see you have a different choice, they're comparing themselves, and when they compare themselves, it often brings anger. You know what I'm saying? Anger is the child of fear. We fear our perception of life being wrong. Making comparisons all the time, saying that we better, saying that we greater. That's what we do on Instagram. We go on Instagram, we say, okay, let me go ahead and post this up and show them how I'm living. And you post something up for like 30, 40 minutes. You looking at it, you only got like maybe one like. You look at somebody else's, you're like, damn, they got 2,000 likes. They got 20,000 likes. This, that, and the third. You're comparing yourself. You're like, oh, you think you're better? This, that, and the third. It angers you, and it drives you to go to go more, just to say, oh, I'm better. You know what I'm saying? It gives you a sense of purpose. You know what I'm saying? It gives you a drive, something to look forward to. But in truth, you will never win. As long as you seek to be right, you will always be wrong. It will be someone always opposing you. You know what I'm saying? That's the truth. You will always have somebody to oppose you. Always, no matter what. Always oppose. There's nothing you can change with that, because life is dealt with the controlled and the uncontrolled. It's dealt with things that we see and we don't see. Existence and non-existence. Everything and nothing. It's upon you to believe. God is just simply a person that creates an answer. Everything around you was once a question created to form by individuals' answers. I fight because I fight because I have the will to. I fight because I'm wilt to send a message. Winning or losing doesn't concern me. The whole point is to send the message. It's many a days where I found myself wondering about life journeys, things that I seek to understand, seeking to give guidance, seeking to be guided. I seek it some type of way to get what I want. But I find it odd, because all these people is rich. They're not really rich. Because the only thing that runs the world now is money. Money will run the world because it's the representation of what we desire. It makes people to do whatever they seek out doing because money is everything. We see money as everything. That's the perception that we see it as because it's the ideas that we deem correct. Balance, choice, cycle, probability, and time. That's how it all works. That's how life works. It's a system that comes in line. Now, I'm not saying there's a higher power. I'm not saying that it ain't. It comes to the point where I realize maybe the world actually manifested itself. Maybe the universe actually manifested itself. Maybe something so powerful exists because it wanted to. Things are deep in depth, but yet very simple. They say the root of all evil is the love of money. But I see people in church, people in the education system, people in the government only driven by the desires, the money. Donald Trump just shut down the whole freaking country just for what he wanted. Does that not show you fear? Does that not show you fear? It's the balance of all things. Just because someone is in fear doesn't mean they hesitate. It's just they're in the moment of questioning. Often the most violent people are the ones that fear they can't get what they want. The most fearful is actually the most violent. That's why human nature, human history itself has been driven by fear. Genghis Khan, Alexander the Great, Shaka Zulu, you name it. All these great leaders, all these great warriors had some type of fear. It was some fear that driven them to do whatever they sought doing. That's how it worked. That's how it still works to this day. Because we're so fearful of not getting, like drug lords right now. Drug lords will go out their freaking way to do whatever they have to do to make ends meet. Because money brings them their desires. It brings them everything. So to lose money is to die. Literally. Because 9 times out of 10, they've done so much. They've done so much shit that eventually only thing they can depend on is money. We're driven by fear. The world is driven by fear. We've always been driven by fear. That's why we sit here and we judge each other. We judge. We say, hey, you're this, you're that. Because when we make comparisons to ourselves, we often fear being lower class than the other person, to be seen as nothing and the other person to be seen as everything. But it's just a perception. Balance, choice, cycle, probability, and time. That's how it all works. They'll say many things. They will do many things to stop you. I'm telling you right now, I have never felt a longevity of positivity around me. Never really had that source of positivity around me. I was always surrounded by negativity. from people dying in front of me, around me, around in school. It was happening. That's where I got my observation from. Other people's stories, seeing what they was going through, what I was going through, and comparing my lives to them. Eventually seeking out my perception of how to live, because I seen it off BET, and I seen it off MTV, and I seen it off all these other channels that made it seem like physicality was everything. But we never built up our mental minds because they were in fear of what we could actually accomplish, what we could actually do. Because the most fearful is also the most violent. When someone perceives you as a certain way and they see change within you, that brings them fear. It makes them question. It makes them question themselves, and that brings self-hatred. That itself brings self-hatred, man. It brings self-hatred. It brings anger. It brings fear. Making comparisons. All social media is based on comparison. You know what I'm saying? Right now, like majority of how we see things is deeming it wrong or not. Which we're making judgments of saying, is this wrong? Or that's wrong? Or this wrong? You have to you will have to individually ask that question yourself, because as long as you're going by someone else's perception, you will never truly grow to have your own intellect, to have your own understanding of how the world works. It's scary, man, because I'm gonna be honest, we living in dark times. It's gotten to the point where this fear is gonna blow over. People are gonna get tired of being recorded. Eventually, people will get tired of being recorded, and they just gonna start reacting. You see it. You seeing it now. Police, black on black, white on white, Latino on Latino. It don't matter what you is. It's all the same. It's always been the same. But only reason that we mark each other different is because we make identifications. We observe, we identify, we question, we detail, and then we create our answers. The first part of consciousness is acknowledging existence. That means observation. Is taking in the world and taking in yourself.